Hello everyone, my name is Miss Kimberly and I am making this video for some of my students at Washington Elementary and the Normandy Schools Collaborative District. So they had a homework assignment or class assignment today, and this is it. It's in their math book, page 260 and 261, and it's for 4th grade, and I wrote this up here. It's for Coach Mack, Miss Thomas, and Miss Bolaños. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to take it step by step so that we can kind of go through it quickly. You do the same patterns over and over. It doesn't matter how many numbers you have, but we'll get through this. So we're going to start here. I'm really big on starting on a fresh sheet of paper, not necessarily the paper that you were given. You can write your answers on here, but I always like to have a separate sheet of paper that you can attach to it, staple to it, so that way your teacher can see your work, because sometimes these sheets don't have enough space for you to do that. So I wrote everything up here. So I kind of drew a little fake sheet of paper. So you have the red margin and you have the first blue line. Your name goes there, first and last. The next line down, you write the name of the day and the date. I like mine spelled out, all the way spelled out, no abbreviations. On the next line, I put the grade and your teacher, so whichever teacher you have. And then your assignment, which is math, and we're on 260 and 261, and you can do whatever problems you were assigned. So if it was on this sheet, it's 1 through 26, you'll put 1 through 26, but I'm not going to go through all of that. So the first one I'm going to do is number 3. I'm going to skip 1 and 2 because they are word problems. If you don't understand what you're doing, you're not going to understand the word problem. So I'll do a separate video for that at a later time. I just want to make sure that you have the concept down. So we're going to start at number 3. Number 3 is 48 divided by 5. Now the instructions want you to estimate the quotient. So it wants you to estimate your answer in this division problem. What I want to do is have them do the actual problem and then go back and estimate. So start with number 3, 48 divided by 5. Typically, our students can't do that off the top of their head. So I drew a little arrow so that you'll know how to write it properly in a long division format. It's much simpler for you to be able to do that. So this also shows you that the first number goes under the hut or the house, and then the second number goes on the outside. So it reads 48 divided by 5, and this reads 48 divided by 5. So I took it and I did a little different color coded so you can kind of see the steps. So before I did that, I know that I'm working with multiples of 5 because I'm dividing by 5. So since multiplication is the inverse or the opposite, we start with 5. So I did some prep work first. I started with 0 and I stopped at 9. Because you're working one column at a time, you'll never have 2 digits. So we don't need to go past 9. So we start there. I also showed a little trick that works very well for my students. So 5 times 0 is 0. Most students know that. So you're multiplying by 5. What I did is I add a little 5. If you get stuck, if you just add the number that you're multiplying by to the last answer that you had and just keep doing that, it'll start sticking. After a while, you won't need to write the number and you can just count it out. After a while, you'll remember them. I don't use multiplication charts. So this is my suggestion. So I wrote this out already for you, and now we'll do the problem. So you start in the column with the highest place value. So it could be a thousands place, hundreds place, but in this particular problem, it's the tens place. So 5 times 0 equals 0. It can't be 1 because it can't be greater than 4. So 5 times 0 equals 0, and then I subtracted it, and I got a 4. Then I bring the next one down in the ones place, and we have now 48. So 5 times what equals 48, either equals 48 or less than 48. So you can go over here and you can see, okay, well, 45 is closest to 48. So 5 times 9 equals 45. You subtract that, and you have 3 as your remainder. Some people can leave that down there. Other teachers expect you to put a remainder 3 or 3. So now that you know what the exact answer is, it's much easier to go back and estimate. So what I do is, you already know that 5 can't go into 4. So you know that you have to use 48 to round. So 48 up would be 50, 48 down would be 45. So you can see here 48 would be, 50. So you have 45 and you have 50, but you don't have that on your list, so chances are you'll probably use 45. So you change that to 45 to estimate, divided by 5 equals 9, which is about your answer. If you know your multiplication very well, you would know also that if you round up, it would be 50. And 5 times 10 equals 50, so 50 divided by 5 equals 10. So you can estimate it either way. I don't know which way your teacher wants you to, or if they want you to use the rules of rounding. Whichever that is, follow those instructions. I just wanted to kind of give you a touch-up of what that looks like. So when you write it out like this, and you write it on a separate sheet of paper, and you write it out neatly, you will know what problem you're working on, what the problem is, what you use to get there, what the real answer is, and how you can estimate. So when you move to a different problem where you don't have to use this prep work, and I'll explain. So on, let's see, number 24, when you get down there, I wouldn't suggest starting with 24, but I would just kind of work the problem. So we'll work it out quickly here. Okay, so for number 24, you have 52 divided by 5. You've already done your prep work on your scratch paper, so you can just flip back to where you did your 5s. But we'll take the step and we'll do it kind of quick. So you rewrite it. The first number goes in the house. The second number goes outside the house. 5 times what will give you 5? You look over here and you say, okay, well, there's 5 right there. So 5 times 1, you put 1 here. 5 times 1 equals 5. You subtract that. You bring down the next column. 5 times what will give you 2? Do I have 2? 2 falls between 0 and 5. It can't be 5 because 5 is greater than 2. So you have to use 0. Then you subtract 0. You end up with 2 still. So you have a remainder of 2. Now you can estimate. If I go use the rounding rules, then 2 will tell me to round down. So 50 divided by 5 is what? If you don't have 50 on your list, guess what? Write the next one down. And then you add 5. 45 plus 5 is what? 50. And so you keep going. And so you know that that's 10. And you know that it's accurate because it matches what your exact number would be. So it's very, very close. So you can estimate that 10 would be your answer. And so that is the end of that. I'm only going to do those 2 for now. If you need some more practice, you can email me at themathmentorprogram@yahoo.com. Teachers, let me know if you want me to continue. I'll make another video. I just want them to practice this first and try something on their own. If they don't get it, then I'll just kind of keep making some videos to help along, and they can watch this video in class as you're working your centers or what have you. So I hope this helps, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.